Hey everyone, so this will be the Suggest the Next deck number 2, and the person that suggested the deck first was ET1 off MTGSalvation.com, and he suggested Counter Rebels, or Rebel Post. I do like the idea of Rebels and Cloud Post, because, well, even though the deck is base white, your secondary color can be many things. I've been over the last 2 days thinking about what color combination I would like. I'd even thought of going 4 colors, with blue for Brainstorms, black for Echoing Decays, and red for Karavic's Torches. But as I've been building the deck and looking at some lists online, it's very hard to fit in a second color, let alone a third color. Because first off, when you're playing with Rebels, you want to make sure that you have enough Rebels that you're going to actually be able to search for. So a lot of the slots are going to be taken up by basically all of these creatures that you're going to be searching for, all the Rebel creatures. And some of the problem with the Rebels that we have access to in Pauper, that now that I've been looking at it, they're all X1s basically, which since Teps is such a huge deck, people have lots of hate for X1 creatures, whether it be like Nausea or Shrivel or Seismic Shudder, and that can be a big problem because your deck, you're basically going to get 3 for 1 or 4 for 1 a lot of times, and so the secondary color that I was looking at, I wanted to make sure was going to be able to shore up hopefully a lot of these problems. So what I've decided to do is I've decided to try a blue base first. And now looking at a lot of the deck lists, some of the non-Rebel cards have been like basically either more removal, such as Journey to Nowhere or Karavic's Torches, sort of as a finisher for the game, but also can't think of the name of the card right now. It's a 1 casting cost artifact where you can search for land. And unfortunately, it just eludes me right now what the name of it is. And I originally had it in the deck, and it's a good card to have. The thing for us is that we also need blue, sort of search for, or to be able to cast our blue spells. In this case, it's just going to be Brainstorm, and I've added the 1 power sink just for testing. But the other thing is that the Signet ramping us into more mana actually is not a bad thing. Now granted, the 1 casting house artifact where you can search for a land, you're going to be able to get Cloud Post and whatnot, or Glimmer Post. But you won't necessarily have access to blue. You would need to use it to find your 1 island basically, which isn't necessarily ramping you. So the Signet also ramps us in cases where we don't draw Cloud Posts or Glimmer Posts to fuel basically our Rebel chain. So the other thing that I want to do was try to keep as many instances as possible, because you'd really like to respond on your opponent's turn, whether you need to deal with what they're casting on that particular turn, or you'd like to be able to search. So say in this case I've added Sunlances, or I'm going to try Sunlance over Journey to Nowhere, because Journey to Nowhere is an enchantment. You can target a creature, removes a creature from the game until Journey to Nowhere is removed, but it's not an instant. So you'd have to actually cast it on your turn, where maybe you actually wanted to search instead of having to deal with a creature on their turn. The other thing, playing recently with the ElfBall deck that we created in the first Suggest the Next deck, was that a vast majority of the 2-man queues and matchups that I played against are going to be against mono green aggro, mono white aggro, or white weenie, infect, excuse me, and Teps with basically Goblin, Empty the Warrens, and Goblin Bushwhacker. So Prismatic Strand main deck is not actually that bad, and hopefully in cases where the matchup it's not good in, we can use Brainstorm to filter it away and hopefully draw something else. So again, this is just a very rough deck. I've played a test game just to sort of get a feel for it, and I just basically got rolled by Teps on the 4th turn because at that time I didn't have Prismatic Strands in the deck. But we're not going to create a sideboard. We're going to see, we're just going to play single game test games initially, just to get a feel for how the deck is going to be played or how it's going to play out, and then we'll make modifications from there. The thing that I did basically, I did keep a lot of the main deck as other Rebel Post decks have done, and that's the 4 Rasmussen Sergeants, 4 Lieutenants, 4 Armor Scouts, 4 Defiant Falcons, 1 Children of Corliss, 2 Zealot and Vex, which is sort of our removal. And I actually only have 1 Thermal Glider and 1 Nightwind Glider. One is protection from black, this one is protection from red. Just to sort of test them to see how often I would actually like them in specific matchups. They do fly, they are 2/1s, and the protections against specific decks are not irrelevant. But I've also added in even Rift Watchers for some life gain. But again, those ones, I feel that in the current metagame, these are actually probably going to be the weakest. Even though they do gain you 4 life, they're a blocker and they're a 2/3 flyer, they do eventually go away, so I'm not 100% sure if these are going to be staying in the deck, or we may even cut some of the Rebel Searchers just because they are just basically 1/1s and 1/2s. We may actually end up cutting down on them. Again, we also might even just switch colors entirely. We may go from a blue base to maybe a black or red, possibly even green. I do like green in that it does have, you can put in crop rotations instead to sort of search for your lands, search for your cloud posts or glimmer posts or whatever you happen to may need. But also it has got some other cards I thought might be interesting. Sprout Swarm I thought might be interesting just because you are going to have a lot of mana. Also you're going to have creatures that are untapped, so you can use them for Convoke. But again, we'll see. This is the first pass of the deck, so I'm going to go ahead and save it here. Try to get a couple games into the tournament practice room and just see how it goes. Hopefully we might be sticking with blue. I really do like Brainstorm in the deck. I kind of wish we had a couple more shuffle effects that might be cheaper. We do have 2 Terramorphic Expanses, but or I'm sorry, 3 Terramorphic Expanses, and those might actually go up to 4, just so we have some more cheap shuffle effects. So. And this is kind of a problem here. Because really what we'd like to do, I think what we're actually going to end up doing is getting our island. We'd like to be able to cast, alright, well, we're against Infect, so we want to try to get to 3 mana as soon as possible, just for Prismatic Strands. Well, let's see what we draw. Alright, so we draw another Terramorphic Expanse, which is actually pretty good for us here. Because then Brainstorm isn't such a dead card. We can get rid of any cards that we don't want. This is actually a tougher choice, and just because I don't know how we should be playing it. But we're just going to go with Terramorphic Expanse and just see how it goes. Hopefully we don't die in our second turn, which is a very good possibility. We maybe should have, well, we couldn't even lay Sergeant to soak up some damage. The thing is, we're not going to hit 3 mana by turn 3, unless we play Terramorphic Expanse next turn. No, having him play Rancor also is double Rancor, so even the Sergeant isn't going to save us, so we pretty much need to cast Brainstorm next turn. Yeah, I don't think there's actually any card that's going to save us here. Because even if we do block, we're pretty much dead. What I probably may have been able to do was not play a land last turn, discard Prismatic Strange, cast Plains and Sergeant this turn, but I think we're just too far behind at that point to even... Well, I guess we can... The likelihood of him not having a pump spell and us drawing a land next turn is very, very low, but you know, that's our only option, unfortunately. Especially when he draws a land or plays a land. I guess it doesn't really matter. Any pump spell pretty much kills us, even a unkicked groundswell. Yeah, so I'm not too overly concerned about that one. Even in the elf deck, I wasn't going to have a whole lot of options. You know, pretty much any deck, you're going to be pretty close to being in trouble there, unless it's say blue-red post or some sort of black control. I am playing one without a sideboard. And that was just so that way I can get into a game real quick. Well, White Weenie matchup is pretty much the only matchup where our Sunlance is not going to be good. That was a concession I was willing to make when I was choosing them over Journey to Nowhere, but we'll see. We'll see what type of deck it is. It is Rebel Post, or it's exactly our deck, or very similar, so this is a bit strange. I wasn't planning on testing against itself, but this is kind of good because we can see how his deck plays out against ours. Obviously him drawing a Cloud Post over ours is not good. Us also having Sunlance where he probably has Journey to Nowhere is not going to be good. Him also getting Cloud Post first will probably not be good. Especially now that he can search and we can't. That was strange. I thought for sure he was going to search at least for something. I don't know why he didn't search for anything. Yeah. Well, he actually knew that he made the mistake there, but so in this particular case, we're going to brainstorm and see what we're going to keep. I'm kind of interested to see what he's going to search for. I wasn't expecting him to search out more searchers. Thought maybe he might go a little offensively. I'm actually just going to take the 2 damage. I'm not really concerned about that. I'd like to get rid of Sunlance if possible. But we'll see what's going to happen this next turn. As long as he doesn't have any sort of instant removal for the Defiant Falcon, which I can't imagine that he would. Well, We're going to get rid of both Sun Lances. We want to make sure that we're stopping on our upkeep. Because we want to search and get rid of those Sun Lances. I kind of want to get Defiant the. I kind of want to get the Zealot and Vec. I'm afraid that he's going to get his own, and therefore pretty much just negate my entire turn. Actually, what I think I'm going to get is the 1/2, so that way he can't get it. It's kind of bad that I give him more extra mana, but you know, the thing is I got to get my own Cloud Post out there. Plus, he only had one guy on tap since he decided to search. My guess is he's gonna, yeah. So it's good that we didn't get our Zealot in back this turn. The good thing is that we can actually get our Zealot in back, use Prismatic Strands against his, and then use it on ours. I'm really surprised that he attacked with both of them. I thought for sure that he would take. I mean, he's got enough mana to use both Sergeants. So it's very strange for me that he would do that, but well, now that we just have more Prismatic Strands, let me see how much this taps for. So this taps for 3. So we definitely want to we want to make sure that we have enough to search, but we also want to get out another searcher. So I think that's the only guy that we're going to get out there. Alright, well that's unfortunate. I find it strange that he's attacking with this guy. But, I will block. Just because this guy is really not doing anything for me anyway. I still might use Prismatic Strands here. I think I am still going to use Prismatic Strands so I can keep this guy alive. Make sure we choose white. I have played with Prismatic Strands where that doesn't, where I screw up. Okay. That is A-okay. Let's see if he's got double Zealot and Vec, which would be unfortunate for me. Or if he just has another removal spell. That's an interesting card. I don't know how great it is since you need to have stuff block, but obviously it's better in this matchup than Doom Slayers. I've been thinking about this guy too. Well, we're gonna run out our prismatic strands again. The unfortunate part is I don't necessarily know how I'm gonna win this game. Just because eventually he's gonna have just more guys than me. I have to imagine he's got similar main deck cards. I can't even search this turn, unfortunately. Definitely didn't want to block. Granted, he might only have... I mean, he can only have 2 more. I don't necessarily know how many more he's got, but... I really need to be able to get through with this guy. And I don't know if that's ever going to happen. I need him to attack with him again. I'm just not sure if he's going to do that. Oh. I'm interested in seeing what happens now. The Rift Watcher I'm not concerned about. Just need to get through with these guys. 4. The thing is, I can't. I still can't double search yet. So, just gonna get Rift Watcher. Well, that's good for us. Well, let's see if he's got another coordinated barrage. Well, here's the thing, is that I don't really think you can attack profitably. I mean, you can definitely attack with his guys, but it's not like... I mean, it's just... you know, you get through for a couple of points. Unfortunately, Rift Watcher just sort of negates all of those. And that was pretty good for us. We definitely want to keep Cloud Post. I wish I had more of those guys now. I guess more sergeants? I'm just not sure. Like he said, you know, didn't really expect to play the mirror right off the bat. The best thing that I have going for me is that I have double Zealot and Vex, and he does not, so... Although it just sort of confirms my suspicions that I actually want more than 2. So he gets 8 mana. He's going to start getting his own Rift Watchers. I think I actually will probably win this game just because I have the double Zealot and Vex. Because if he would have had more Errant Doomslayers, or more Zealot and Vex, he surely would have searched for him when he had the chance. Because now, like, his only hope is just to sort of throw all of his guys away. And the thing is I can just I can dictate how much damage I actually want to take. That seems really odd, but We actually want the land. The land is good for us. And also the signet, just so that we can get more mana rolling. Prismatic Strands I actually want to keep at this point because I just want to make sure I'm not going to die in a turn. I actually think I'm going to grab some flyers here in a minute. The only reason I didn't want to get another Rift Watcher just yet is I just want to make sure I have another flying blocker that's 2 toughness when I need it. The other thing is I don't necessarily want to use Cloud Posts in case he lays his own Cloud Posts. Just so that way I get more mana at the end of my turn. I am going to start killing off his flyers though instead of the 2 power guys, because the 2 power guys attacking, they're not going to be really attacking anytime soon. I will kill one of them, but I just want to make sure that I get rid of as many flyers as possible. It's going to be a very grindy game. I need to make sure that, first off, I'm going to have enough cards at the end of it, because it's going to take me a long time to get through all of his guys, and then not only get through all of his guys, but also be able to get through for 30 points of damage. So, White Weenie, I'm trying to think of what our problems are. It's got the Acacian Javeliers, just a race in general. They're probably going to be able to easily race us. Also, Prismatic Strands is not the best, just because we can't basically fog their guys. Yeah, I was looking at the uncommons and rares that we could choose from if we were not playing Pauper, and it's just, the deck is just night and day. You know, you don't necessarily have to play removal. You can play removal rebels. Linsivy obviously is the one that can recur, and she is by far the best one. See, I think he's figuring out what I'm figuring out, is that we might actually I'm going to grab these guys. And somebody did make a mention of using black with Pestilence. Which in our case would be actually, it would be decent. I'm trying to think how many more flyers he's going to have. I don't think he's going to have too many more, oops, don't move that guy. Yeah, that might not be bad. It would be fun. I don't really have any legacy decks. I don't have... I don't really have any legacy decks. I do have a couple modern decks built, but they're not great decks. And just have another fun deck to play. Definitely an option. So far I do like Brainstorm though. It did what we were hoping that it was going to do, and that's shuffle away some of the cards that might be dead in our specific matchups or that we don't need right away. Although we can't really rely on it to find lands like some of the other decks do. Like it's going to be pretty infrequent that we're going to get the one island Brainstorm hand. And I'm not even sure we'd want to keep that, just because we do have 8 colorless land sources, and pretty much our entire deck was white. Basically, as soon as we sideboard, though, this guy's I'm pretty sure gonna tear me up. Thinking about, well, I may have passed priority as far as casting Prismatic Strands, but it actually might have been warranted to do that, just because now it's going to take me a lot longer to shoot all of his birds. He doesn't have any more Defiant Falcons. Maybe only one more Rift Watcher. Maybe only a couple more Nightwings. I'm not sure how many more Nightwings he's going to have. He's probably saving them. Like, I feel I might just have to throw them out there just so I can start searching. So we got his last Aven Rift Watcher. I don't know if I'm gonna have enough turns here. It's gonna take me 3 more turns, and he's gonna be at 36. So there are 20 cards. If he's got any other my other problem is too is if he draws a Journey to Nowhere here before I can get rid of all of his Defiant Falcons, that's even going to be worse for me. I have no idea what he's casting on his turn. I can definitely say I was not expecting Crusher. Because that Crusher is going to eat 2 Signets, and then I'm going to have to throw like 15 guys in the way. Which obviously is not ever good. Actually, I just need to get all these 2-powered scouts out. I am going to trade 1 bird. And the reason for that is that means I can get rid of Oops. I just speed up my clock by a whole turn, because then I can use the Zealot to get rid of the children next turn. So now I don't think he has any more flyers, because all of his Defiant Falcons will be dead. My guess is in place of the pro creatures, he's got crushers. Which obviously is not a bad choice. The computer's going a little slow here, probably from the recording. Chugging along here. Just want to make sure I get all these guys out. Just want to make sure I get all these guys out for next turn. Sucks I'm going to lose my signets, but that's alright. I am going to block with extra guys, just because I don't want him to have like the last, whatever the instance is, to blow me out. I would like to attack with this guy right here. For a minute there I thought he was stuck. So doing a 27. Now he's like at 150. 32. I just hope he doesn't have another crusher. Well, that's good for us. At least he didn't attack with more guys. I gotta block with an extra 2. Then I'm gonna lose all of them. But at least the crusher threat is dealt with, hopefully. Unless it pumps it. No, that's good. Kind of frees up some space on our screen too. And for me, I might as well just search out the last of these guys, because the thing is, I don't want to draw them. I suppose I didn't even need tap mana there. Probably should have searched out the other one too. Might search the other one out right away, actually. Well, yeah, well, this is what happens when you get little hot rebel on rebel action. I'm actually not going to play the Glimmer Post, and the reason for that is because if he plays more of his Glimmer Posts, I don't want him to gain more life. Because I do have a very serious problem in that I might get decked. And I'm actually not going to. I'm just going to let that... I just need to start getting damage through, basically. Like, he might think that I'm going to kill that guy, but I'm not killing that guy. Like, it's going to come pretty close. I can't even search for any more rebels. So the thing is, he's got 3 Glimmer Posts. So that sort of confirms my suspicion. We should at least have another 2 of these guys in the sideboard. Definitely good in the creature matchups. But also those Errant Doomslayers, obviously something we're going to want to side in. Again, unfortunately we don't have any sideboard. We don't have anything to sideboard in. But in this case, if we had the extra Shadow guys or the Errant Doomslayers, obviously Sunlance would come out. Probably at least 1 Prismatic Strands and the Power Sink. Just because it's probably not going to be that great in this matchup. He's not going to be casting a whole lot of spells other than Crusher. And is it nice to counter Crusher? Sure, but by the time he's going to be able to cast it, as long as the game is somewhere in a parity state, it's, as you can see, it wasn't that big of an issue. Now obviously if he has some way to save Crusher, or if he's going to cast multiple Crushers, that's a completely different problem or scenario. Which is why we should probably have Journey to Nowhere's at least in the sideboard. The version that we're playing now, I just like to try to keep as many instants as possible. Try to maximize the first game as far as what our plan is and what we're doing, and that's just using the rebels as our card draw. And that's really what you have to look at it when you're comparing these to other post decks, is that, you know, instead of, say, Deep Analysis or this is sort of interesting in that, I'm trying to think here, we can actually get the Lieutenant down second turn. And then we can actually just start using them right away, which is even better. That actually changes a lot for us. So our thing will cast 3. If we put down another Glimmer Pulse right now, it uses up 2. I'm trying to think if I can get both signets down. Because accelerating, I can get both signets down. Can I get... Is it possible for me to get both the sergeant and lieutenant into play? No. No. Doesn't matter. Well, wasn't expecting that. I would consider that not a great sideboard card for this matchup. Just because, well, it's Cloud Post, and you're typically going to have lots and lots of mana. So, for me, that was a little strange for him to cast, but, you know, to each their own. And I don't want to cast Brainstorm yet because I want to see if he's going to deal with my Sergeant first, which is a very good possibility. Now I have some problems here in that I need to play multiple Vex. But my issue is I probably need to search. Let's see, what do I want to do here? I'm actually going to keep the searcher on top. Actually, we need 3. I'm not even paying attention. Alright, I can't even get the guy that I need. I'm actually just going to draw the searcher, and actually I'm going to cast him. Well, no. There's no reason to draw the searcher when I can just put him into play. See a new card at least. But I'm going to get this guy. Well, that wasn't a great card to get, but I don't want to put in Glimmer Post just because I don't want to give him more. I don't want to give him extra mana. I'd like him to search for. No, I didn't think he was going to do that, but. That's my computer speeding up a little bit here. I figured that was going to happen. I really do like Brainstorm though. If he gets Errant Doomslayers, I'm pretty much done. Or the other Zealot and Vec. That would do it. Yeah, if you would have got Errant Doomslayers there, there's not actually anything I can do. I wouldn't actually be able to come back. That's a very cool sideboard card. I kind of like that. Or counter target spell that targets you. Nice. That's very good. Rolling Thunder. You can also counter like edict effects. And I'm just going to concede here because I'm obviously done. I can't keep any guys into play. I have no way to remove them in this particular version, since I don't have any other removal besides Sunlance. So that particular instance, not so good. And this is pretty much a mulligan anyway because we have Sunlance in our hand. This one we're just going to have to hope. See if he's got the Mana Tithe again. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's good. To me, it doesn't seem good because you have to have it early, and if you draw it late, it's pretty much just dead. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of need him to cast something. That's good. Or play a Glimmer Post or Cloud Post. Well, that was about the worst 3-drop he could cast for me. Since I have both Zealot and Vex in my hand, I actually need to draw a blue source. To put one into play. Must have Dawn Charm again? No? Oh, that's a good interaction. I thought he had to deal damage. Yeah. And that should be the game right there. I don't think I can do anything. So, first game Marathon, second game much different, especially when he draws a bunch of Zealots. So it was good to see some sideboard cards. I think I'm just going to cut this one a little bit short here because those games went very long. And unfortunately we didn't get to play against anything that we might actually see in tournaments, such as Infect or Mono Green Aggro, Teps, or even just a Blue Red Post. So it's already pretty long, although I have a pretty good feel for the deck now, as far as at least what we want to do against Mono White. And possibly other creature decks. Even Mono Green Aggro getting the Zealot and Vex into play. The only thing they can't probably kill are going to be ledge walkers. Let's add this guy here. I'll probably go through a few more changes before the next one. I'll see if I can get just some random, tournament practice room games up, and just make some more subtle changes to the deck. So, until next time.